What is up, Babylonians? Dan was here, and today we're going to be looking into New World expeditions. Have a look at what they are, what you do in them, and whether or not it's worth actually doing the expeditions or not. So let's jump straight into it and see what we've got. So when I talk about expeditions, you might think about this guy. Or it might come to mind expeditions from this game here, Outriders, the time-based endgame where you have to make sure you get the highest DPS possible in order to complete it as fast as possible. When in reality, you're actually probably closer with Indiana Jones. You're going to be heading into crypts, into just different areas. So, for example, this one's a mine, and you're going to be exploring, trying to get that tasty, tasty loot from the actual expedition. This can be found during and at the end from the boss's end drop, or from loot containers within the expeditions themselves. Depending on the expedition that you are in, determines what enemies you will come against. So, for example, this one we've got a lot of undead enemies, but you will come across other enemies depending on, as I say, which expedition you actually join. Now, these enemies, they do drop loot as well. So, a lot of games, the end game or the expeditions or whatever they have in there, tends to be you fight through and you don't get any loot until the end. Whereas with this one, with this game, you do actually get the loot as you go around killing enemies, so you can get the item drops. So, for example, you'll probably get quite a lot of health potions, mana potions, you'll get the occasional weapon and armor drop as well. And you will actually find resources within the expeditions themselves as well to collect. And possibly one of the best things about the expeditions in this game as well is that you are not sort of restricted for time. There's no time limit. You're not trying to hit a end goal, and you can just go through at your own leisurely pace and not have to struggle thinking, well, I've got to get this done as soon as possible. Unless, of course, you've got your mother telling you, it's time to get off your PC and go to bed, Chris. Sorry, Chris. So yeah, it's nice leisurely stroll in the park, other than the fact that you do come against enemies that are stronger than the normal world. But you wouldn't want it to be too easy. I'm hoping, actually, to be honest, that they do maybe introduce something that makes each expedition in the future a little bit harder, maybe give you extra rewards as well. So at the moment, from what I have seen, is you jump into an expedition, and that is just what it is. It's just one expedition. You don't get any choices with it other than maybe how many players that you bring into it. You can fill your party, or you can go in with the minimum. So, for example, this one is a minimum of 3 players. Now, that is because of the puzzles, if you can call it a puzzle, within the game, or within the expedition, which requires 3 players to be standing on 3 plates at any one time. So that is why it's got a minimum for this one. I haven't checked out other ones just yet, but we will look at other ones in the future as well. But yeah, so it's nice and easy, really, leisurely stroll, as long as you are geared up for the expedition and have a decent team that works quite well. Now, ideally, what you're going to want to have as the minimum, so the minimum of 3, is you'd have one of your characters would be a tank class, one of them would be a healer, and the other one a DPS. Again, you can fill your group up, so ideally you'd probably want to go for a couple of DPS builds, maybe 3 DPS, 1 healer, 1 tank, and then possibly even, if you can, go for sort of a 2 tank strategy where you'll have one guy is the main tank, and then you would have someone else who is primarily DPS, but if that tank guy goes down because the healer's not doing what they should do, then you have that extra tanky DPS player that can sort of take on the brunt of the force whilst you're waiting for that tank to either revive himself or get picked up in later stages. Not all loot in this game is going to be obvious as well, so there are secret caches of loot. So as you can see here, we're just jumping into this water. Bit of a insider for you for this expedition. And you can see it's quite well hidden under the water. You wouldn't see it just walking past. So it's good to know these little spots. So this is something we'll probably go into as well in the future, looking at each expedition and just showing you where the loot is, where it's hidden, just so you don't miss out on anything and you get everything that you need. So here we can see the plates that I was on about. So when I say puzzles, this one is quite an easy one really. It's just get 3 players to stand on each of these plates. You need 1 person. And once you do that, it will spawn some enemies and will allow you to move on to the next area. So as you can see, he is jumping on here, and we've got the other 2 guys on there as well. Enemies are spawning, and the bridge across to the other side has formed. So we can continue on once we have defeated these enemies. Now, so far, I'll say about the enemies, these are things I haven't actually seen personally out in the wild just yet. That's not to say that they won't be there, but it would be nice to see if or to have some unique enemies that are hiding amongst the depths as well, just to give you that extra bit of, I guess, replayability of the game, because there will be things that you won't see that often unless you are doing the expeditions. Now, when you reach the end of your expedition, you will come across the big bad boss of that expedition. Once you have defeated that boss, that is the expedition over. Finish up any looting that you have to do. The end boss should also drop some loot for you, so this will be hopefully the rare items that you're after, but it's not a guaranteed drop on these. It is more of a, this is what you can get in an expedition, not what you will get. The more people you have in your group, though, obviously, the higher the chance that you'll get some good loot that you can share as well. So the best thing to do at the end of an expedition is have a chat with your group, see what they've got, they can see what you've got, and you can share them along with each other as well. Right, that's it for the first ever, not necessarily an expedition guide, but more just a brief talk on what expeditions are. So I think what we're going to try and do as well is look into the expeditions, try and find what shortcuts are available for you so you can get them done quicker if you want to. Try and find out where all of the loot is, all of the resources as well. So you might be going into an expedition because you know that there's that guaranteed silver spawn in there as well. For example, for this one, so you'll pop in, do what you need to do, grab the silver, and also get some sweet loot whilst you're at it. The only other thing I would advise when joining expeditions is make sure that your bag is empty. I have 300 carry weight at the moment, and that just about gets me through one expedition before I'm completely full, and then I have to obviously delete or sell, so salvage or sell things, and then I can go again for a second one, to be fair, but you have to be careful you're not getting over encumbered. But that's just common sense, really. Just keep an eye on your carry weight, and you should be fine. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's a bit of an insight into what you can expect from expeditions as a whole. We will be going into, like I say, the other expeditions soon, checking out what you can get from those, checking out any secrets, checking out the best tactics for them, if there is anything. They are somewhat linear, but fingers crossed there's things that we can have a look at to make them go a lot quicker, a lot smoother. Just look at a few tactics, etc. Maybe even discuss whether you need 3 DPS, 2 DPS, 1 DPS, 3 tanks, 2 healers, etc. And once we know the best methods for you, then we'll let you know them as well. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for being supportive of ourselves. If you haven't subscribed already, please click that subscribe button. If you haven't liked the video or disliked the video, please click one of those, thumbs up, thumbs down, depending whether you liked or hated, or even if you're not sure, just hit one of them. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of the video, what you want to see next, and have a nice day.